Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Piéra and today I'm here with the books I'm most anticipating in 2020. These are the books that I'm super excited for in 2020. Now obviously these are the dates that I've gotten off of Goodreads that could change between now and when they're released. So don't come for me if they get changed and I mislead you. Do your own research, I'm so sorry. So a couple books that don't have a release date yet because they're those kinds of books, but I'm still hoping for maybe they'll just get like magically dropped like a Beyonce or Eminem album. Daughters of Stone by Pat Rothfuss, which is the third and final book in the Kingkiller Chronicles, which we are all anticipating. I don't even need to get into that. The next one is the next book in the Red Rising saga, which we don't have a title for or a date or any real news about it. Probably hasn't been started, probably won't come out this year, but I can still anticipate greatly. I mean, look, shit, off the top of my head, I think that's it, just those two. Anyway, the books that I'm really keen for in January are as follows. The first one is Come Tumbling Down by Shauna Maguire, which is the fifth book in the Wayward Children's series. The Wayward Children's series is a variety of short story, well, they're not short stories, they're just stories that are short, centering around these children who find hidden doors. It's essentially just portal fantasy, but it's great and I love it. This one is current timeline centering around Jack and Jill, who were the twins from the other books. The next one is Lady Hotspur by Tessa Gratton. Tessa Gratton wrote The Queens of Innisleia, which I really wanted to like, but I just didn't. And I'm worrying, I'm like cautious Lady Hotspur might be the same thing. So Lady Hotspur is a loose, gender-bent retelling of Shakespeare's Henry IV, which I am hesitant, but I'm still interested. I really wanted to like Innisleia, like all the things that I like in fantasy. Well, some of the things I like. I don't know why this book is on my list, but I'm interested, I'm keen to read it. It's gender-bent, it's girls, that's it. The next book is Scavengers of Stars by Tara Sim. This one was mostly because I saw the hype online and really liked the cover. This one focuses around a young woman who has been held captive for a bunch of years on this like slaving boat essentially, and she rescues this mysterious stranger from drowning, and this mysterious stranger goes, I have riches galore and will free you from your debt. And so she thinks that's a good idea. This one is a gender swap retelling of the Count of Monte Cristo, so I was like, that's kind of interesting. And I'm all for any form of revenge stories. Revenge stories, I feel it. I feel it. And those three books all come out on the 7th, / they have been out for at least 2 weeks since posting this video. Next up we have All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. This one involves mermaids, which for me is always a hit and miss, but essentially in this kingdom there is a young woman who is basically trying to prove herself as the Master of Souls. That goes awry and she has to flee, and she meets up with this pirate. Basically, if he helps her prove that she's fit to rule, she'll help him find his stolen magic. And that book comes out on the 4th of February. Next up on the 11th we have The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. This one is a debut fantasy about an orc priestess turned wizard's assassin. So this young woman, orc lady, has been chosen as a sacrifice. She goes up to sacrifice herself. This mage is like, hey, how about change of plans? You come live with me and we'll take over the world. And she's like, ugh, death or world domination. Easy choice. Then on March the 3rd we have two of the most popular releases of the year, Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City and Cassandra Clare's Chain of Gold. Crescent City is Sarah J. Maas's new book in her new series. I think it's called Crescent City and the book is called House of Blood and Earth. I don't actually know, I thought we were done with these sort of titles, but alas, I digress. So we have a young woman who's half fae, half human, who's like living her best life. A brutal murder throws that all into chaos, and then this fallen, immortal angel man who's probably incredibly attractive and brooding has to watch her. They probably fall in love. I'm just calling it now. And then in Chain of Gold, it's Cassandra's new book in the Shadowhunters series, so if you've read the Shadowhunters, you're probably well aware of it. This one I think is set back in like Victorian era. I like the Dark Artificers enough to want to read these ones, so I will be doing that. Then on the 3rd, by E. Latimer, we have Witches of Ashen Ruin, which blends modern witchcraft with Celtic mythology. We have a young woman struggling with OCD who's just been added as bisexual in her conservative Irish town, and the return of her long absent mother. And then this other coven rocks up to town, they're like, hey, here's this premonition of death, and this young woman ends up fighting with the granddaughter of the head of that coven. To me, it sounds like female-female romance, enemies to lovers. That's what I'm hoping for. But it's a bunch of like dark magic set in like this dark, broody island, which that's all of my favorite aesthetically pleasing things. And then on the 30th we have The Girl on the Stars by Mark Lawrence, which is set in the same world as the Book of the Ancestor trilogy, which was one of my favorite series of all time. So I'm really excited for this book. This is probably one of my most anticipated, and essentially it follows this young woman who's like torn from the life that she knows and then kind of has to fend for herself and discover the world of Abeth, which is huge, which we didn't get a lot of in Red Sister and that trilogy, which is why I'm excited to hopefully explore more of the world in this new series. In May, on May 5th, we have Aurora Burning by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, which is the second book in the Aurora cycle. This one, I'm just interested. Like, sci-fi isn't really my thing. These sorts of books really aren't my thing, but I'm interested enough to give it a go. I wouldn't say I'm like greatly anticipating it, but I'm like curious because I know it is a popular read. Then on the 19th, we have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which is a new Hunger Games book. Ah! Fuck! I'm so excited. And this one is a prequel to the Hunger Games set like 64 years before Katniss's time, and I feel like that's Mags's Hunger Games, but I'm not 100% sure. My math is terrible, I'm not even gonna look into it, but and anything Hunger Games related, I'm fucking there for. I'm so there for. I'm so there for. And on June the 2nd by Tasman Mur, I'm excited for Harrow the Ninth. Harrow the Ninth is the second book after Gideon the Ninth, which I realized that I liked after I'd finished reading it. And I liked it enough to be super interested in the premise for the next book, which I'm not going to get too much into because it is book 2 of the series, but I'm really excited to see these characters again. July the 2nd, we have The Black Song by Anthony Ryan, which is the second book after The Wolf's Call in the new series after The Raven's Shadow. There's a lot. On August the 4th, I'm excited for 10 Arrows of Iron by Sam Sykes, which is the second Grave of Empires book after Seven Blades in Black, which is probably my favorite book of last year. I'm fucking excited. I need more Sal. I need more Liette. I need more everything. I'm so excited for that book. On September 3rd, obviously, we have Empire of the Vampires by J. Kristoff, which again, vampires, ooh, but J. Kristoff's writing, so I'm just kind of like, ooh, what a mood. And then on November 19th, we get The Burning God by R.F. Kuang, which is the third and final book in the Poppy War saga. After the ending of Dragon Republic, I need The Burning God. I need it yesterday. I needed it 6 months ago when I finished the second book. So those are probably my most anticipated books for 2020. The next are just a bunch of books that I have seen the cover of, read a brief synopsis, and I'm like curious to pick up. I don't know too much about them, so I'm not going to get into them too much, but they are books that I am interested in. We've got Sword of Fire by Catherine Kerr, The Animals of Lockwood Manor by Jane Healy, Bonecryer's Moon by Catherine Purdy, The Empress of Salt and Fortune by Niveau, Queen of Coin and Whispers by Helen Cochran, A Time of Courage by John Gwynne, A Court of Miracles by Kester Grant, Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas, Forest of Souls by Laurie M. Lee, and Sisters of Sword and Song by Rebecca Ross. So those are all the books that I'm looking forward to in 2020. There's enough that I'm like, there's at least like one a month that I'm interested in, which means hopefully I'll at least get through one book a month. Anyway, let me know what books you guys are excited to read in 2020, and I'll see you next time. Bye!